Okay, Shalom Islam to all the Moors. I self-law am master. Make your correlation to the Hermetic laws, specifically the first law, mentalism. Man is thought. Make the connection. Also make the connection to nationality, which is masculine mental energy, which is the Hermetic law of mental gender. All right. So let's pick up back where we left off, y'all. For those of you who are new, this is the free astrotheology course. The author of our primary book, our textbook, primary textbook is the Reverend Robert Taylor. Okay. We also use as supplementals the diegesis and Ptolemy's Tetrabiblios. Okay. So the link to the free PDF to this book is in the description area of the video, along with several Ancient Ibaryath books that I have written. All right. So you will note that these Ancient Ibaryath books that I have written are dealing with roots and bases, okay? Or in other words, radicals. So in these books, all of them, I show the radical or the root or the base of the word, okay? And this is the demonstration that the author of this book has been giving us. Now, those of you who have been following, you should already realize from the text and just from your own mind. Hold on. All right. You should already realize that etymology is one of the master keys to pulling the skirt off of the religion, all right? To expose religion for what it is, specifically the New Testament and many stories in the Old Testament, all right? It gives us the original or the first meaning of those words. So when you look at the Dr. Yasapa, Ancient Ibaryath, Aramaic, and English dictionary, it gives you 1,600 plus primary roots or radicals, all right, from which every word in the Hebrew scriptures is made from, all right? So that's what you need, and that's what I put that together for, so you'd have those roots, all right? Now let's get back into our lesson. We are on, last lesson for me was the past 2 or 3 were excellent demonstrations of how the scribes have written lies into the book of the law itself and created whole new letters, a whole new covenant, and added to and even created whole new stories, hiding the radicals, hiding the roots and bases by mixing roots and bases from different languages, okay? And even going further than that, changing letters, changing consonants, retaining the same or a similar sound, like replacing a Z with an S or a Z with the TS, adding verbs, subtracting verbs, not verbs, but nouns, adding nouns or subtracting nouns. Why? So you'd never figure this out. But now you have the key, you have the code on how they did it. All right? But it's up to you to keep learning. It's up to you to either read this book, The Devil's Pulpit. The link to the free PDF is in the description area of this video. It's up to you to either read it yourself, if you can comprehend it, if your reading comprehension skills are adequate, or to continue coming to watch these presentations that I'm doing. All right, so that's totally on you. So we left off on page 41, no, page 42. We left off on page 42. Y'all will remember. At the end, the very end of December 24th, going into December 25th at 12 midnight, look up in the sky and you will see Capricorn. You'll see Capricorn. That's the stable. That's the stable. The stable of Bethlehem, or the stable in Matthew chapter 2, right? Where JC is allegedly born in a stable, in a manger. So the stable is a constellation. Okay? So if you look on the very first chapter, page 1, the Star of Bethlehem, Matthew chapter 2, verse 2, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. So y'all should remember, this story was lifted out of two sources. One of the sources, let me find it here for y'all, and then we'll go into the lesson, okay? One of the sources is the Bhagavad Purana. The other source is the Avente, the Zend Avesta. Lifted out of two sources. The Zend Avesta of the Zoroaster, okay, or Zoroasterism. Okay, so Zoroaster, that's a deity, and it's also a priesthood or a clergy. What are they called? Magi. Magi. Magicians, conjurers. The three magi, the three magicians, the three conjurers came to see JC the Christ figure. Not only did they come to see JC the Christ figure, they were the first. They were the first to know where he was born, to know his nativity. And they were the first to offer him oblations or offerings, frankincense, gold, and myrrh. Why and how? Well, because as you read the text, you'll find out that these magi are the ones who created the story in the first place. They are the workers of the theosophy, the hidden wisdom, the black magic, the black arts, y'all. That's right, you Christians and you Hebrew Israelites. Every time you listen to your pastor, officer, captain, general, reverend, priest, whatever you have, elder, when you listen to them, you are listening to them cast spells. You are listening to them recite magical incantations. Why? Because they're either reading from the New Testament, or what are they doing? Or they're giving a sermon based on it, or y'all listening to Christian and Hebrew Israelite and Catholic, Methodist, Lutheran, whatever the derivative of Catholicism is, all one thing. The music, it is charming, magical incantations that turn you into a fool and a coward and a bondman or bondwoman, in today's vernacular, a slave. All right? So this is maritime, Arab Moti, Catholic, Christian, canon, corporate policy. Corporate policy, why? Because this is Capricorn. December 25th, Capricorn, the zodiac sign Capricorn. Right? Corporations, corporate dominance. And then, of course, Pisces, the two fish going in opposite directions, the yin and the yang, the duality, the duplicity, the intentional deceit. Do y'all see this? Where's the intentional deceit? Well, these black art practitioners, black magic practitioners, these magi, these magicians, these conjurers, remixed the gospel remixed the gospel, these allegorical stories. Everyone knew that they were allegorical stories. And they remixed them and made the claim that these were stories that actually happened in real life, that the people were real, they had a real history. There's the black magic, there's the black arts, that's the casting of the spell. And then they created what? They created causes. You should think the Hermetic law, cause and effect. They created causes that would have the effect of you believing that these stories are real, that it's real history, instead of allegorical stories. Allegorical stories are fairy tales. Fairy tales or allegorical stories that describes the sun's movement once a year through every zodiac sign. That's all it's describing. Okay? So they use black art, black magic. That's the pen, y'all. Musical instruments and their mouth to cast these spells. Jeremiah 8 verse 8. I hope this is clear to y'all. So going back to December 25th, end of December 24th, beginning of December 25th at 12 o'clock midnight, you look up into the sky, you see Capricorn. You look over at the horizon, you see Virgo, that's the Virgin Mary. Capricorn is the stable of Bethlehem. On the horizon, you see the Virgin Mary. On December 25, Capricorn, okay, at the horizon. So here's Capricorn, zodiac sign Capricorn in the sky. On the horizon, you look right over the horizon, you see Virgo, the Virgin Mary. And what's happening at exactly 12 o'clock midnight? The sun ascends 1 full degree northward. Prior to that, the sun did not cast a shadow on the sundial, so the sun was said to be dead. But at 12 o'clock midnight, December 24th, going into December 25th, the sun ascends 1 full degree. The shadow is cast 1 degree on that sundial, and now Christ is born. Hence we have the story. Christ is born through the Virgin Mary. Now y'all know that virgin here has nothing to do with sexual virginity. That's made up. That's to hide the astrology. Is it clear, y'all? We're dealing with the star of Bethlehem and JC's birth. All right? So, Virgo, the Virgin Mary, is said to conceive JC, the Christ figure, when actuality, astrologically, Virgo is only at the horizon at the moment when the sun ascends a full 1 degree northward. The sun ascends, rises 1 degree northward. Hence, Mary gives birth to Jesus, or Mary conceives Jesus. Where? In a stable, because Capricorn is in the sky. Y'all see it? In the stable. But you just can't have them on the floor, right? You just can't have the baby on the floor in the stable. That's too obvious. That's too disgusting, right? So what do? Well, he was born and put in a manger. The little trough, or whatever you call it, that animals eat in. You put the animal food in there and then they eat in it. And then he was wrapped in these filthy clothing. I think the term is swaddling cloth. So y'all get the picture? Do you see what's happening astrologically or astronomically? Virgo in the sky, Capricorn in the sky is the stable of Bethlehem. Virgo at the horizon. The sun moves fully 1 degree northward. Thus, and this is the last time I'm going to say it, thus, the virgin or Virgo gives or is conceives a son. Y'all got it? A S-U-N, son. All right? When did it happen? In Capricorn, the stable of Bethlehem. So you put the whole thing together. Mary conceives Jesus. Mary gives birth to Jesus in a stable. And then they threw in the manger. So he have a little bed. All right? So this is what's happening with the story. All right? And we see this even to this day during Christmas time, right? We see you go in any grocery store or a mall, a place where people are, or even a church still, and they have the nativity scene. But it looks clean. They don't show you that it's a filthy barn or stable. Okay, y'all. But you get the whole story on that when you go back and watch video number 21. Number 21 of this class, okay? So let's pick up on page 42, the first paragraph. As Saint Justin, commonly called Justin Martyr, so we read this, I'll go ahead and do it again. One of the earliest of the Christian fathers actually draws the parallel between Christ and Mithra. So Christ is Mithra, is Cupid, is Eros, is Phanes, is Phaeton. All right, or Phaeton. All the same deity, all are solar deities, personifications of the sun or the anthropomorphic or the anthropomorphized deity or spirit of the sun. Clear? All right, I hope this is clear. I think it's pretty clear, right? It's pretty clear. Y'all let me know in the comment section if this is clear or not. So anyway, let's continue. All right, so Justin Martyr draws the parallel between Christ and Mithra. That Christ was born on the same day when the sun takes his annual birth in the stable of Aguias. Now, I just went over that, right? I just discussed that. That is the station of the celestial goat. The celestial goat station, that is Capricorn, the zodiac sign Capricorn, or the mansion. Remember when Jesus says, in my Father's abode, there are many mansions. Well, there are 12. Okay? So the station of the celestial goat is the mansion called Capricorn. Make the connection. Where we have seen is actually placed the stable of Aguias in the sixth labor of Hercules. Well, there you go. There is the mythology. This scene is taken from the sixth stable, or sixth labor rather, of Hercules. Now y'all know who Hercules is, right? Hercules is King Herod, the hero of the skin. Go back and watch the last 5 or so videos in this class. This is number 22, I think. I don't know if this is 21 or 22, but go back and watch the last 5 and you'll get that. Or you can read it yourself in the book, okay? Now let's continue. Next paragraph. This Capricornus, or this Capricorn the goat, in the pagan mythology, is said to have suckled the infant Jupiter. Notice, y'all, infant, newborn, Jupiter. So the goat, Capricorn, puts the infant Jupiter to its breast. Y'all imagine that. Imagine that. A goat putting an infant, and the name of the infant is Jupiter, to its nipple so that it could eat. That's the mental image that you need to have. Thus, Capricornus, the goat, in the pagan mythology, is said to have suckled the infant Jupiter. Jupiter, J-E-W, Jew, and then Peter, P-E-T-E-R. Jupiter, Jupiter. Patar, Peter, Petra, Pator, Father. Okay, so these are the meanings. So this is the name of God. This is the name of God in Hebrew, translated as a rock, whence came Petra, Peter, Jupiter, Pator, Pater, a father. The source is Bryant's analysis. I got that off of page 41, y'all. Okay, so let's keep putting two and two together. Let's get to the truth, the reality of what the Gospels are. That's our goal. No religion, no bias. Just look at this from its literal meaning from the beginning and the history, okay? Now let's continue. So here, y'all, we have a goat with an infant whose name is Jupiter. Jupiter means father, and the goat has this baby sucking on its breast, of which enigma and the undoubted solution is, in other words, here's the meaning of this image. The sun son, who is Jupiter, who is Jupiter, who is Patar, who is a father, right? Who is God, who is the rock. I got that off of page 41. First beginning to rise on the 25th of December. Okay? So remember, the 21st or the 22nd, that's the winter solstice. So every day of the year from December 25 all the way to December 21, 22, the sun casts a 1 degree shadow every day. But on December 21 or 22, all of a sudden, there's no more shadow being cast on the sundial. So the ancients, our ancient ancestors, described this as the sun being dead. Y'all see it? Because there's no more shadow being cast. But on December 25th, the sun says, our ancestors said, the sun is resurrected, or what? Born again. Because all of a sudden, at 12 midnight, end of December 24th, beginning of December 25th, the sun casts a 12 degree shadow. A 1 degree shadow. Is it clear, everyone? When the days having been at the shortest on the 21st of December, or St. Thomas Day. So the 21st of December, rather, is St. Thomas Day. And why? What do we know, or what have we been taught about St. Thomas? Doubting Thomas, right? Doubting Thomas. Well, here's why. So that unbelieving Thomas, doubting Thomas, doubted whether the sun would ever rise again. Why? Because it did not rise for 3 days. He doubted if it would ever rise again. Y'all see it? Because nobody gets resurrected from the dead, so he doubted. Clear? All right. Okay. Or that St. Thomas Day, so that unbelieving Thomas doubted whether the sun would ever rise again, first appeared to be lengthening again. In other words, not only is the direction of the sun changing, remember from the summer solstice, which is around June 21, 22, the sun begins to fall or descend southerly. The sun is falling southward, hence the fall. And then at December 21, we are at the winter solstice. On December 25th, the direction of the sun changes. Now it's ascending upward. It's springing upward towards springtime. Y'all see it? So not only is it changing direction, right? Not only is it changing direction, but from the end of the summer solstice, June 21, the number of daylight hours are becoming fewer and fewer and fewer. Christ is being conquered. Y'all see it? Christ is being humiliated. The darkness is winning. The evil is winning. And then on December 21, 22, that's the day that has the maximum number of dark hours, of nighttime hours. Y'all see it? Hence, Christ has been totally humiliated. Christ died. Y'all got it? But he's resurrected again on December 25th. To everybody's surprise. What's happening now? From December 25th, the number of daylight hours are increasing. And increasing and increasing until they reach their maximum at the summer solstice, which is June 21, 22. Everybody see that? So that there is a constant battle between light and darkness. Everybody see? A constant battle between light and darkness. And the light is JC, the Christ figure. I am the light, or Jesus is the light of the world, right? Jesus himself said, I am the way, the truth, and the light. So this is higher self behavior. The Christ at the summer solstice, that's higher self behavior. This is the Hermetic law of opposites, right? Same line. This is the same thing, same straw, same thing, same nature. Okay, but this is the law of polarity, and this is the devil. So you have Christ, you have the devil. Law of opposites, you have the Christ. At the opposite or opposing end of the line, you have the devil, and opposite in Ancient Ibaryath. That's where the concept of Satan comes from, the opposer. Or the devil is at the opposite or opposing end of the same line. So this is higher self and lower self. So that means you are the Christ and you are the devil. It depends on who you want to be. That's a function of your thoughts and your behavior. Everybody see that? So that's what's happening here. Okay. So the days are lengthening again. The sun, the S-U-N sun, or Jupiter, or Jesus, or Jess, or Yes, is said to be born or brought up with the goat. Why is he born or brought up with the goat? Because on December 25th, the sun begins to ascend. It's changing directions from southward movement, right? And now it's changing directions to ascend northward. And a 1 degree shadow is cast on the sundial. Y'all see that? So Jesus is brought up. Jesus ascends upward with the goat. Or in other words, when Capricorn is in the sky and Virgo is on the horizon. Clear? That's December 25th. That will always be like that. Always was and always will be. Clear? All right. Let's continue. Thus among the nations who reckon the year to begin at the winter solstice, that's December 21, 22, that is, in Capricorn, the goat, the first sentence of the first book of Genesis, the first sentence in the first chapter of Genesis was, listen y'all, was, as in the first copies of the Samaritan Pentateuch, quote, quote, in the beginning, the goat, G-O-A-T, in the beginning, the goat created the heavens and the earth, end quote. Now, isn't that very interesting? Not in the beginning, God, G-O-D, created the heavens and the earth. No. No, 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 no. The first sentence reads in the Samaritan Pentateuch, In the beginning, the goat, G-O-A-T, created the heavens and the earth. Let me show y'all this. This is on page 42. So y'all go and y'all check this out yourself. Right here where my fingers are. This is the Samaritan Pentateuch. In the beginning, the goat. In the beginning, Capricorn created the heavens and the earth. If y'all go look up the creation story in a good Bible dictionary, you're going to see that Genesis chapter 1 is actually an insertion. It is not a part of the original book of Genesis. It is actually the Babylonian creation story. All right? It is the Babylonian creation story. Now you recall on page 40 where the author is telling us that this historical knowledge, all of it that we have, came from the ancient Babylonians and Chaldeans. Clear? So that's no surprise, right? No surprise. No surprise. Now let's continue. While those who reckon the year to begin from the vernal equinox, that's springtime, that's around March 19 through March 19, 2021, something like that, okay? That is when the sun, the Escheat sun, enters into Aries, the ram. Now y'all know Aries is derived from Arez, A-R-E-Z, which is Egyptian, which is the tribe of Gad, G-A-D. In the zodiacal Israel, Isis, Ra, and El. Okay? So place Gad as the first of the tribes. Nobody can deny that, right? And accommodating their magic to their astronomy. In other words, they adjusted their magic, their black arts, these fairy tale stories, pushed as being historical, real stories. They changed it up, adjusted it to match astronomy. Okay? And accommodating their magic to their astronomy, have handed down their Hebrew text, which has become our magic. Listen, y'all, here's the text. In the beginning, Gad, G-A-D, that is the ram, created the heavens and the earth. Y'all got that? In the beginning, Gad. In the beginning, the ram. In the beginning, Aries created the heavens and the earth. So both the Samaritan Pentateuch and, as we see here, the ancient Hebrews initially had zodiac signs during the creation of the earth in Genesis chapter 1. Okay, is that clear, y'all? Is it clear? Let me go through it one more time. I'm not going to comment, I'm just going to read it so that we have it clearly stated on the record. Thus among the nations who reckon the year to begin at the winter solstice, that is, in Capricorn the goat, the first sentence of the first chapter of their book of Genesis was, as in the first copies of the Samaritan Pentateuch. Y'all got that? The Samaritan Pentateuch, whoever wrote that, the beginning of the year was the winter solstice for them. And every other nation, every other bloodline of people who began their year with the winter solstice, also in their book, the first chapter, according to the text here, the beginning of their first chapter or first sentence of the first chapter of Genesis was the same. In the beginning, the goat, or in the beginning, Capricorn created the heavens and the earth. While those who reckon the year to begin from the vernal equinox, that's the spring equinox, That is when the Escheat sun enters into the sign Aries the ram, which is the tribe of Gad. Okay, so now we're talking about the nations whose year began in spring with the vernal equinox or the spring equinox. Okay, they had the year beginning when? When did their creation story say the year began, or who created the heavens and the earth? The heaven and the earth was created by Aries, the ram. Okay? Aries, the ram, is the tribe of Gad. Aries, the ram, is the tribe of Gad, G-A-D. Take note, y'all, G-A-D changed the vowel to an O. You get G-O-D. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Do y'all see that? That is when the sun enters into the sign of Aries, the ram, which is the tribe of Gad, in the zodiacal Israel. Clear? 12 tribes of Israel, 12 tribes, or 12 signs of the zodiac. Aries is Gad. The first, Aries, of course, is the first zodiac sign of the year. It's number 1, according to modern astrologists. All right? So Gad is the first tribe of Judah. Not the first tribe of Judah, but the first tribe of Israel. Y'all got that? In the zodiacal Israel, Gad is the first tribe. All right? And then it continues. And accommodating their magic to their astronomy, have handed down their Hebrew text, which has become our magic. In the beginning, Gad, G-A-D, or in the beginning, God. That is the ram. Aries, the ram, created the heavens and the earth. This creation takes place every year on the 25th of March for those people, for those nations who began the year with the vernal equinox, with the spring equinox. All right? So if they began the year in the winter solstice, then the creation story takes place every year on December 25th, right? When the sun ascends 1 degree upward. Everybody see that? All right. So this creation takes place every year on the 25th of March, called Lady Day. So the 25th of March is Lady Day, or the day of the conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Everybody see that? Do y'all see it? Mary conceives on March 25th, and then what happens 9 months later? That's probably going to be December 25th, right? Well, let's see. Let's see. Okay. Page 43. This creation takes place every year on the 25th of March, called Lady Day, or the day of the conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary, that's Virgo, who exactly 9 months afterward, on the first moment of the 25th of December, that would be what? 12 o'clock midnight, the end of December 24th and the very beginning of December 25th. Y'all see that? Exactly 9 months later, on the first moment of December 25th, brings forth her firstborn. So the Virgin Mary brings forth her firstborn. The sun ascends northward, the sun rises, the sun is resurrected. The proof of that is that when you look at the sundial on December 25th, it moves, or you'll see a shadow cast rather, 1 degree. Christ is born. Y'all got that? Christ is born. Clear? All right, now let's continue. Jesus, let me, I want to read it straight through. Let me see, where am I going to start? Give me 1 second, y'all. This creation story takes place every year on March 25th, which is called Lady Day, or the day of the conception. The day of conception is March 25th. March 25th is also called Lady Day, the day of conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary, who exactly 9 months afterward, or exactly 9 months later, on the first moment of the 25th of December, brings forth her firstborn, Jesus, or Jess, or Yes, and lays him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. As you will see, now that's the author's opinion, I'm supposing. As you will see, that there is really not room enough in the pavilion of the Virgin. The pavilion of the Virgin, that sounds like the mansion of the Virgin. But anyway, let's see. When the spike of corn, absolutely. When the spike of corn in one hand, so Virgo has a spike or sheath of corn in one hand, and the scales of September in the other. So, if I remember correctly, y'all, Virgo and Libra used to be one constellation. In ancient times, it was one constellation. And then in more modern times, they separated Virgo and Libra. Separated them and made them into two constellations, if my memory serves me correctly. But I'll go back and find that and let y'all know. Anyway, let's continue. All right. Okay, so as you will see, that there is really not room enough in the pavilion of the Virgo, of the Virgin Virgo. When the spike of corn in one hand and the scales of September, that's the scales of Libra, in the other, she drops little Jesus out of her bosom. Y'all got that? She has something in both hands, a stalk of corn in one hand and the scales that we see associated with Libra in the other hand. So she has the baby, and the baby falls out. Her hands are full. So the baby just falls out. Where does the baby fall to? Let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. She drops little Jesus out of her bosom, and he tumbles down into the stable. What stable? The stable of Bethlehem. Can y'all imagine that? Okay, imagine that. He falls down into the stable, the nadir, or lower meridian. The lower meridian would be the south, right? Where the winter solstice, right? The precise astronomical position of the sun at the moment. Do y'all see that? So the sun is where? It's in the south, right? Because it's winter solstice. The sun is at the south, winter solstice. So here's December 25th. This is the northern part of space, right? That's Christ. The northern part of space. And then the southern part of space, that's winter. Remember, the perspective is always from the north. The perspective, the point of view is always from the north, the northern hemisphere. All right? So, on March 25, y'all, Virgo, you look out, Virgo is on the horizon. So here's, let's say this is the horizon. Virgo is going to be like this, right at the horizon. Okay? So, she's got both hands full. In one hand, she's got the sheath or stalk of corn. In the other hand, she has the scales. Libra scales, right? So she can't catch the baby. So she pushes the baby out. The baby falls where? The baby falls down. Right? The baby falls down. Y'all see it? And what's down? Well, the sun is already down. It's at December 25th. It finally changed direction. It's moving northward. It's springing northward. It only moved 1 degree. December 25. Y'all see that? So she drops the baby. Baby comes out, falls down in the exact position of the sun. Clear? Clear? All right. Okay. So let's continue. Boy, as you will see, it would be so much easier if I had visual aids that I could just point to and explain it. But I don't have it. I don't even know where to buy it, other than I would have to make... Hold on. I would have to pay an artist to create it for me. So y'all, you know what, y'all, if y'all can afford it, you know, send in some donations, so I can have some fiat to pay an artist to create these images, so that when I do these lectures, I can just show you the picture. It would be so much easier for y'all to understand. But of course, it takes fiat. All right? It takes fiat. It takes finance. Okay? So if y'all want it, make a donation. PayPal.me/Zion Law School. The link is in the description area of this video. Okay? But again, as you will see, that there is really not room enough in the pavilion of the Virgin. So there's not room in the mansion of Virgo. When, with the spike of corn in one hand and the scales of September in the other, Virgo, or the Virgin Mary, drops little Jesus out of her bosom. Baby comes out. She's pregnant, right? Ain't nobody gonna stop that baby from coming out. The baby comes out, and baby Jesus tumbles down into the stable. So now the stable, on March 25th, the stable is also where? In the south. Okay, so the stable, which is the nadir, or lower meridian, the precise astronomical position of the sun at that moment. Okay, so we really need to have a visual image of that for everybody to appreciate it. Some people are better to visualize than others, but you really need to see it because you probably never saw it before, right? Now, sirs. By the way, y'all, like and share the video, okay? Like and share the video. Let's get this information out. Now, sirs, at the moment, to the accuracy of settling of a watch. Okay, so a watch is very accurate, right? Now, sirs, at that moment, we just discussed it, right? 25th of March, which is called Lady Day, which is the day of the conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary, who exactly 9 months after, on the first moment of December 25th, brings forth her firstborn, Jesus, and lays him in a manger. Because there was no room for them in the inn, as you will see, that there is really not room enough in the pavilion of the Virgin, the mansion of the Virgin, the Zodiac sign Virgin. When, with spikes of corn in one hand and scales of September in another, she drops little Jesus out of her bosom. The baby comes out, and little Jesus tumbles down into the stable, the nadir, or lower meridian, the precise astronomical position of the sun at that moment. Now, sirs, at that moment, that's the moment we're talking about, to the accuracy of the setting of a watch. What is the state of the visible heavens in the construction of the planisphere? Okay, now y'all pay attention to this, okay? Try to get this picture in your mind. Let's see what's in the heavens. Imagine you're looking up and you're looking at the stars. Okay, well, here's what's in the visible heavens, y'all. Why? This is it. At the lower meridian, you have the stable of Bethlehem. All right? In which Christ is born. Christ is born in a stable. In fact, he's born in a manger in a stable. Look up in the sky, in the lower meridian. This is the astrology or the astronomy. You have the stable of Bethlehem, that's Capricorn, in which Christ is born. On the eastern part of the horizon, you have the sign of the Virgin. So y'all go outside, look to the east, and what are you going to see? You're going to see Virgo, the Virgin Mary constellation. Virgo, the constellation Virgo, toward the east on the horizon, with the great star Vindimatrix in her elbow, just peering above the horizon. That's the key. Scholars, that's the key. You look toward the east, you'll see Virgo at the horizon, but you're going to see the star called the Vindimatrix, which is in Virgo's elbow. It's the brightest star in her elbow. This is the star of the east. Y'all listen. The Vindimatrix in her elbow, just peering above the horizon. So that bright star that you're going to see at the horizon, just above the horizon, is the Vindimatrix, which is located in the elbow of Virgo, the Virgin Mary, of which star the Magi, or wise men, expressed themselves. Quote, "We have seen his star. We have seen the Vindimatrix. We have seen his star in the east." Yeah, they looked right over to the east. They saw Virgo, and then that bright star is Vindimatrix, and it's located in Virgo's elbow. Clear? Clear? At the upper meridian, you have the constellation Cancer, the crab, which includes the cradle of Jupiter. The cradle of Jupiter, y'all. Literally the Io Sepi. That is the manger of Jao, J-A-O. I'm on page 43. Now y'all should know who J-A-O is by now, right? The manger of Jao, from which mistaken words have been formed the name of the imaginary husband of the Virgin Joseph. Y'all see that? Well, that's where you get Joseph. Okay? At the upper meridian, that's the northern part of space. You look up, you'll see Cancer. You'll see the zodiac sign Cancer, which is the crab, which includes the cradle of Jupiter. So in Cancer, there's a cradle called Jupiter. Literally the Io Sepi. That is the manger of Jao, from which mistaken words have been formed the imaginary husband of the Virgin, who's Joseph. Okay? Y'all got that? The manger of Jao is Joseph. The astronaut, the Cancer, the constellation Cancer, has something called the manger of Jao, J-A-O. This has been rewritten or remixed as Joseph, as Mary's husband Joseph. That's what the author is saying. Page 43, last paragraph. That's where I'm getting this. While on the western horizon, so everything we saw, the crab, Cancer, Virgo, and the Vindimatrix, that's when you look to the east on the horizon. Now let's look the other way, the exact opposite way. We'll look at the west, the western horizon. While on the western horizon, you have the Lamb of God, you have Aries, you have Gad, that taketh away the sins of the world. Immediately above which, you will see the Epiphany, or the manifestation of Christ to the Gentiles, which is none other than the beautiful constellation Orion. So Orion is the Epiphany, right above Aries. Y'all see this? What's significant about Orion? Orion has a belt with 3 stars in it. So you already know where this is going, right? You already know where this is going. So you look to the west and you'll see Aries on the horizon. You look above Aries and you will see the constellation Orion and his belt. The 3 stars in the belt. Let the author continue speaking to you. Hold on. Okay, so we're going to talk about what's on the western horizon now. We're going to talk about what's on the western horizon now. While on the western horizon, you have the Lamb of God. This is Aries, y'all. This is Aries. You have the Lamb of God that taketh away the sins of the world. Immediately above Aries, you will see the Epiphany or manifestation of Christ to the Gentiles, which is none other than the beautiful constellation Orion. So above Aries, you will see Orion, and Orion is the Epiphany. Wow. The manifestation of Christ to the Gentiles, which you may see. Now we're talking about Orion, which you may see this very evening, those 3 bright stars which constitute Orion's belt. Y'all see where this is going, right? Being the 3 magician kings who, looking directly across the horizon, they're looking, remember, they're on the west. So they're going to look directly across. That's the opposite direction. So they're going to look toward the east. The 3 kings are going to look toward the east. Well, what are the 3 kings going to see when they look toward the east horizon? They're going to see the Vindi matrix in Virgo's elbow. Y'all see it? Let's read. Okay, so we see the constellation Orion above Aries, which you may see this very evening. Those 3 bright stars, which constitute his belt, being the 3 magician kings, who, looking directly across the horizon, that's toward the east, see his star in the east. See his star in the east. That's the eastern horizon. And are come to worship him. They see his star, right? Matthew chapter 2, verse 2. Let's read it one more again. Matthew chapter 2, verse 2. Quote, Matthew chapter 2, verse 2, quote, "Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east." Yeah, they were at the western. They were looking from the western celestial horizon. And they looked toward the east, toward the other horizon. And they saw the Vindi matrix, which is the brightest star in Virgo, located in Virgo's elbow. Where is he that is Jesus Christ? Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. Y'all see how this works out completely and precisely? No ifs, ands, and buts about this, y'all. Am I right? Am I right? So now let's continue, y'all. While on the western horizon, you have the Lamb of God that taketh away the sins of the world, immediately above which you have the Epiphany or the manifestation of Christ to the Gentiles, which is none other than the beautiful constellation Orion, which you may see this very evening. So what does he mean by which you may see this very evening? He means that somebody might be reading this book on the very day when the heavens are situated exactly like he's describing now. You might be reading this on that very self-same day, and you look up and you see it. But then maybe you're not, right? So that's why he says you may see it, right? Okay? While on the western horizon you have the Lamb of God that taketh away the sin of the world, immediately above which you see the epiphany or manifestation of Christ to the Gentiles, which is none other than the beautiful constellation Orion, which you may see this very evening. Okay? Those three bright stars, which constitute Orion's belt, being the three magician kings, being the three conjurers, being the three wise men, being the three magi. All right? In the Star of Bethlehem story. Who, looking directly across the horizon, now remember, they're in the west, so when they look directly across, they're going to be looking toward the east, on the eastern horizon. See his star, see Jesus' star in the east. Where in the east? On the horizon. What is his star? It's the Bindi Matrix. And are come to worship him, which they do by presenting gold, frankincense, and myrrh, the emblematical oblations in all ages, consecrated to the honor of the S-U-N Sun. We're on page 44, scholars. And look ye, sirs, this is history itself, than which nothing that was never deemed an indubitable record of truth among men was ever more historical. See, it's like clockwork. It's like a fine, precise watch. Okay? Dependable, reliable, happens every year. Same time. No changes. Like clockwork. Okay? It is historical, real history. Not a fantasy, not a fairy tale. The most ancient chronicles of Alexandria attest to the existence and universal prevalence of this religion in Egypt. Notice he said religion, y'all. So we're dealing with religion, not science here. Okay? For ages before the date of its falsely pretended origins in the era of Augustus and Tiberius. Quote. Here's the quote. Remember, this is religion, okay? To this day, say the writers of that ancient chronicle, quote, Egypt has consecrated the pregnancy of a virgin and the nativity of her son, whom they annually present in a cradle, that's a manger, to the adoration of the people. So our ancestors had already gone bad. They had already begun to remix natural phenomena into fairy tales and teach the people that it's a real historical story. Okay, they're already going bad. Jeremiah 8, verse 8. Now let's continue. And when King Ptolemy, well, there you are. There you are. King Ptolemy. See, when you have sufficient, when you're very well read, and you have some knowledge of these histories, and you've developed your analytical mind, and you're comfortable with reaching conclusions on your own, then you can see this stuff. You can see it. You can see what's coming next. It's simple. especially when you know your enemy. In other words, you know the tricks that they use. Jeremiah 8:8 tells you, right? The secret treaty of Verona tells you. Put those two together. And it's very revealing. Now, let's do this. Let's pick it up. And when King Ptolemy, so this is after Alexander the Greek allegedly conquered Egypt, right? When King Ptolemy, that is 350 years before our Christian era, that is 350 years before JC was allegedly born. King Ptolemy demanded of the priest, the Egyptian priest, the significance of this religious ceremony. What religious ceremony? Well, the one we just talked about. Quote, Egypt has consecrated the pregnancy of a virgin and the nativity of her son, whom they annually present in a cradle to the adoration of the people. This is the Star of Bethlehem story, Matthew chapter 2, verse 2. So like I said before, Sanetta and his consort, they are correct.